Greetings, YouTube. I'm wearing my I Love Free Speech t-shirt today. In Ivory Coast, the presidents have just changed power. President Ouattara has taken over from former President Gbagbo. Now, that probably isn't much news to most people, except for the fact that former President Gbagbo lost the election in November and simply refused to leave office, and had his military forces attacking both the private citizenry and the military forces loyal to the current president. He just said, no, I'm not leaving. I wasn't unelected, but he was not elected. And everyone else on the planet, except for him and the few people that were loyal to him, agreed that he had not been elected. And he committed a number of frank crimes against humanity in an attempt to keep power. Now, I feel a great deal of sympathy for the citizens of Ivory Coast. The Ivorians have been through some horrible civil wars in the past, and this looked like it may turn into another one. And there are still problems that may lead to more conflicts in that country. The French have come in, and some people think that's a good thing, and some people think it's a bad thing, so it's a very complex issue. But for me, what's the most fascinating part of this whole process is the fact that I heard nothing about this on the American news. I did not see a single news item in print, online, on television, on the radio, nothing on any American news source. And if it wasn't for the fact that I listened to the BBC on the way to work at night, on the Public Radio International, I wouldn't have known anything about what was going on in Ivory Coast. But BBC covered this from the election, before the election, covered the election, and has covered all the controversy since the election, and the fact that, former President Gbagbo simply would not leave office. He has now been apprehended, and he's refusing to sign paperwork saying that he's turning power over to the person that was actually elected president. At this point, seeing he's essentially a prisoner, I think his failure to sign this piece of paper is pretty moot, but he's still, to the end, refusing to admit that he lost the election. And he's been willing to kill people to keep that illusion alive inside his own mind, which is sad, but does show a level of determination that you only find in hardcore politicians. But I just can't figure out why American television has not covered this at all, why no American news source I found anywhere seems to have covered this. If it, again, hadn't been for the BBC, I would have known nothing about this. And they had people in contact with Ivorians on almost a daily basis, calling these people on the phone. So they had one gentleman who was, just the night before he was, former President Gbagbo had been taken into custody, he was a single kilometer away from where the battle was going on. I mean, if BBC can get on the phone with somebody 1,000 meters away from the battle, you think that the American newscasters out there could do something, but they haven't. And it's another example how about the mainstream media in America is an utter and absolute failure. That all it is a bunch of sound bites to keep people's attention long enough so that they'll sit through the commercials, which is depressing. I've taken to wearing radio headphones at work so I can't even hear the television when I'm in the break room, because what passes for news programs on headline news just nauseates me. It's just talking heads. It's reality TV shows with a criminal theme. It's horrible. And this is just the worst example I can think of. An entire nation within, an inch of blowing up into full civil war, and yet not a peep on American newscasters. So anyone out there who listens to the BBC, good on you. At least they're a decent source that I trust. And for any person out there that works for an American news source that ever sees this video, you're not doing a very good job.